Come on, Smith, I know you can do it!
Since I'm making a video talking about Biggie, I think it's time to kind of re-talk about one of my biggest issues Trolls 1 has. And as a fan who's definitely been on the franchise for so long and in its earlier stages and kind of know the ins and outs of what went on back in 2016 with the franchise, the one thing that the franchise did was when it came down to the figurines or the plushies or even random troll books, they would add character bios or little things to get to know the snack pack, which is great and everything before you see the movie, but the problem lies in the fact that there's only two characters in the snack pack that actually display their personality, but it's mostly because they're the ones that get the most focus. A good example, I will say, and this is me being a teensy weensy a bit biased, mostly because Guy Diamond is my comfort character, but I'm going to be critical. Every snack pack member either boils down to a character like Smidge. Smidge is just a catchphrase machine, and also she just so happens to have a lower tone voice and just so happens to be pretty feminine but likes to work out. The Fashion Twins say things together occasionally, and they just so happen to be fashionistas, hinted at slightly when it came down to making Bridget's Lady Glitter Sparkles outfit. DJ Suki is a DJ, but that's really only because her name literally says DJ Suki. Fuzzbert is a character I can't really talk about, mostly because the character is either mute, speaks in Animal Crossing language, or speaks in complete gibberish, and the character bio is all over the place, and I hate to say this about this character, but the character's so mute you can't really tell the character was even remotely in the film. Hate to say that. But at the end of the day, these characters don't have much. And when it comes down to Guy Diamond, it's like this character is one big gimmick. He doesn't wear any clothes, he's head to toe in glitter, he speaks in auto-tune, had the iconic line, "I could squeeze you forever," which kind of is like, it's like a branding in the character. And then you have the fact that he farts glitter. Whether or not you find it funny, or you like it, or you don't like it, it's iconic to the character, but at the end of the day, this is more just visual and 1 to 2 lines of dialogue. And I still think it's crazy that my boy is like the third mascot of Trolls, despite that probably shouldn't be going to either Biggie or Cooper, but I'm definitely happy that he's definitely the third face of the franchise, but there's nothing to the character when you look at Trolls 1. And the crew really wanted to make the snack pack into something, but due to time restraints, they couldn't do it. I'm going to let them actually speak for themselves when it comes down to the scene where Poppy goes to Satin Chenille during Move Your Hair to get her coronation outfits and other outfits throughout the rest of the party.
It was a chance to kind of meet some of the friends in a more personal level. So it was a chance to meet Satin and Chenille and get the gag of their hair is connected.
And you get to see that they're dressmakers, which is nice. I don't know if that comes across in the film. And you get to see these beautifully designed weirdo dresses. There's like maybe
so many
40 dresses that flash up on the screen in a very short amount of time.
It was a big challenge for them, how to construct these dresses. Like, how do we design this many dresses and
did it.
Move them that way? And is it too late to put it back in the film?
Can we put it back in?
Satin, Chenille, is that my coronation dress?
Yeah, it is! But that's not all! Your post-rehearsal gown, coronation formal attire, after coronation party dress, and the after party moo-moo!
I want to wear them all!
Typically with film merchandise, they typically don't really coincide with the movie all that 100% perfectly because, you know, merchandise has to come out. So pretty much companies literally take rough drafts of deleted scenes that probably don't make it into the film and they put it into merchandising. In fact, that Sad and Chenille deleted scene actually made it into the little Golden Book version of DreamWorks Trolls. I will say this, I'm going to let this user called Grandma's House read a Trolls book. It's called Poppy's Party, and it practically shows off what could have actually been in Trolls. I'm just going to let it play all the way out to kind of show you what could have been.
Everyone is getting ready for Poppy's party, but first, Poppy has to pass out the invitations. Poppy's friend Smidge is super small, but super strong. She gives Poppy a super lift. Poppy brings Biggie an invitation. He is a big softy. He cries happy tears. Poppy visits Creek. He always gives good advice, and everyone hangs on his every word. Creek is a super cool troll. Poppy knows that Guy Diamond will make her party shine. He shakes off a cloud of glitter whenever he dances. Poppy drops in to see the twins, Satin and Chenille. Poppy's fashionable friends will create some awesome dresses for her to wear before, during, and after the party. Poppy practices her dance moves with Cooper. No one can dance like Cooper. That's because he is the only troll with 4 feet. DJ Suki is creating a special playlist for Poppy's after party. DJ Suki uses all sorts of critters to make music. She is always ready to drop the beat. Poppy's friend Fuzzbert loves to tickle the trolls. He is also a tickler on the dance floor.
So I only wanted to play the snack pack parts. I'll be linking this in the description down below because there's actually some deleted branch content that explains one certain scene later on in the film. So definitely go give it a watch if you don't own the book yourself. So this kind of shows that the filmmakers definitely wanted to make sure why Poppy feels like it's important to go off and save the snack pack. And sadly, this isn't here, and so many characters were literally robbed. So at the end of the day, it was mostly all the attention was given to Biggie and Cooper.
Okay, Mr. Dinkles, say leaves.
Since I ended the last segment the way that I did, I want to present this loud and clear. I have nothing against the Troll voice acting cast at all whatsoever, and I have nothing against Ron Funches or James Gordon. Celebrity voice acting, it's messy. Certain voice actors get more roles, some get more billing. It's a gigantic mess. And with DreamWorks Trolls, this is clear as day when it comes down to Biggie and Cooper having more lines than the snack pack. It's sad, but it is what it is at the end of the day, and that's definitely why they got the most. And again, as I said, nothing against Ron Funches or James Gordon or Biggie or Cooper. It just is what it is, and I hate to kind of say that about the industry, but it's a sad but true statement.
Something's missing.
So this is the part where I'm going to have to draw comparisons to Biggie and Cooper and just explain it when I get into the Trolls 2 part of the segment. But here's the thing. I knew who Ron Funches was before Trolls. In fact, he was in one of my favorite DreamWorks shows, Home the Adventures of Tip, and oh, his voice is just a little bit different from Cooper's, but you can tell it's Ron Funches. And the thing is, when I listen to both characters back and back, I see the character, I don't see Ron. And the thing with Cooper is, again, I don't hear Ron. I just hear Cooper, and Cooper is just a character who is a wild card. He doesn't quite have all of his marbles there, but he means well. I love this archetype. I feel like Cooper definitely falls into the realm of puppycorn, of just really how to do this characterization really well, and you have a good time with this character. And as simplistic as that is, that's a character trait. And I can see it as clear can be. With Biggie, he only has like 3 things. If you remove the fact that he's a big softy, if you remove that bit, all he has is being worried half of the duration of the runtime, Mr. Dinkles, and James Gordon. I will say this, just like Ron, I can hear Biggie, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's clearly James Gordon. There's no masquerading that. And the thing is, like, this isn't really much to go off of. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like the lines he's given, but he's given way too much, and it really boils down to just those 3 things. And when I say James Gordon, it's again kind of going back to the whole, hey, look at this cool celebrity cast we got here. You guys like James Gordon, right? Here you go. And that's really all Biggie really has in Trolls 1 compared to a character like Cooper. And hell, Guy Diamond's voiced by the guy from Big Bang Theory, and I don't think a lot of people know that. And like, even I didn't realize it till like a couple months after I saw the film. I was like, oh, that was him? Wow. So with that, it's kind of like, you can easily make a character, and like you can tell it's like not even the voice actor. You're just seeing the character. And that's really all Biggie has in 2016, and I gotta be honest, Mr. Dinkles did half the heavy lifting for him. Like, Mr. Dinkles is probably like a standout character in Trolls 1, so yeah, and I gotta be honest, because of this and how many times I've rewatched the first Trolls movie, it's sad to say for Biggie. So, hearing me talk in that last segment, it might sound like I favor Cooper over Biggie. And yeah, it's true. I'm gonna be honest. Like, Cooper's like in that realm of like my top favorite troll characters. Like, he's like right next to Poppy and Guy Diamond at the end of the day, and Barb and other characters. It's a huge list. There's a lot of characters in this franchise at this point. Biggie's definitely at the bottom of the list, like the very, very bottom, but that doesn't really mean that I hate the character or they're not my favorite. In fact, I actually enjoy Biggie. That might sound like a shocker because I'm being like really, really critical, but in fact, Trolls Holiday is really good at spotlighting each member of the snack pack, except for DJ Suki, who hasn't been the franchise since the TV shows. That's honestly, I don't know what's up with that, but it is what it is. But Trolls Holiday managed during each song and just highlights each and every snack pack member. And I wish we got that in Trolls 1. And the reason why I like pretty much like the extra content, such as like troll books and the troll TV shows and troll shorts, is mostly because other characters get to shine, and I actually like what Biggie's given in the second film, and I'll get into being critical about that one later, but I do enjoy what Biggie's given. I like the character. The character is very, very charming, and it's not the matter of, because a lot of people do this, it's not the matter of James Gordon voicing him, and I favor the Beat Goes On voice actor / Trollstopia voice actor, because that's far from the truth. Both do a great job at in capturing this character really, really well. So both do a good job. So it's not the matter of James Gordon. The character is just fun to watch. It's just, I like it in small doses. And Trolls merchandising, such as books, Troll shorts, and the TV shows, managed to give me Biggie in small doses or big doses, like giving him his own book or his own episode. And I like what's being presented here. And to be honest, and this is going to be something I bring up when I talk about Trolls World Tour and the big problem with Biggie, I like the character growth Biggie was given in Trolls The Beat Goes On. It was very fun to watch how this character slowly grew. There was one episode where Biggie learns how to be a little brave, not as the big lesson that was learned in Trolls World Tour, but he learned it in Beat Goes On. The other thing that he learned was to get out of his comfort zone sometimes, and those two things kind of slowly evolved the character as the show went on. In fact, without that character growth, I don't think Biggie would have stayed as long as he did in Trolls World Tour, and I enjoy that. It's good, and as I said, Biggie's not my favorite. He's not my hated Trolls character, or least. He's just a character I enjoy, just in other areas of the franchise. I enjoy the character, and if there's Biggie merchandise, I don't mind picking it up if I really want it. So at the end of the day, don't mind the character, it's just how the character has been handled in the films. Okay, so Move Your Hair and all the mashups that are in it, I always go back to that song over and over again, no matter what, so it did something right. If anything, even though I was nitpicky about what it did earlier, I like it. And I like that Trolls World Tour pretty much did a sequel of Move Your Hair with Trolls Just Want to Have Fun. Now, I will say this, Trolls Just Want to Have Fun in terms of presentation, it's a lot better than Move Your Hair. It's a lot better than it. And the only reason why I say that is because Tiny Diamond would not have been introduced in the way that he was. If this was Trolls 1, Tiny Diamond would have probably been introduced the same way Guy Diamond was. I'm just going to be blunt. If Tiny was always with Guy, and this wasn't a Trolls World Tour thing, just hypothetical speaking here, yeah, these two would have just ended up being the same thing. And here, they actually full-on introduced Tiny Diamond, but, and this is the saddest part about it, we got the new character Legsley. And if you listen to the soundtrack, she gets a whole song doing her cover of Groove is in the Heart. This was cut from the movie, so Legsley did not really get a song introduction. She just got little moments here and there in the film. And the sad part is she pretty much got left behind with all of the other Snack Pack members throughout the whole entire film until Biggie came back to Troll and or Pop Village. The naming for this place is messy, but you get what I mean with the name of the location where the Pop Trolls live. So that's kind of where I could say Trolls definitely learned from their mistake, but also they took 2 steps forward, but 2 steps back with this. So yeah, it's like a pro and a con. They kind of learned, but also didn't learn at the same time. It's definitely messy.
I don't understand, Poppy. Are we losing on purpose? Wrong.
Whether that be reviews for Trolls World Tour from the fandom on YouTube.com or a random Tumblr post, this is how people approached Biggie, and this is including myself. It would be, Biggie was tired of Poppy's BS, and the man dipped, but then he realized that when things get really, really hard, you should never leave a situation, especially if you're leaving a friend. You never leave friends behind. So yeah, Biggie learned how to be brave and learn to never give up and, definitely back your friends when things get really rough. Child, anyway, so back to a huge description of Barb, a huge description of the history of the strings, Cooper, Poppy, hype up King Trollocs, talk about how cute a random side character named Pennywhistle is, but I'm going to go into a huge long essay about how funny it is that Mr. Dinkles wants the sweet release of death.
Right? I was gonna throw a kickoff party, but I'll happily toss my invitations away. Who cares, right?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Here's the thing. Trolls knows its main target demo is like 2 and onward, but at the same time it enjoys catering towards the family, and that's everyone, and you don't even gotta be in a family with kids to enjoy animation. It is what it is. You catch my Tokyo Drift. There's stuff for everyone in Trolls. But at the same time, they kind of know, what type of stories to present, and I get it, They wanted Biggie to have a character growth moment, but a teachable one too, and I talked about it earlier. It's just Biggie learning to never give up when things get tough and to never leave friends when those things happen. Those are good morals, but here's kind of the reason why the Trolls fandom just kind of brushes this to the side. Yeah, it's great character growth moments for Biggie, but we don't talk about this much, and you want to know why? Trollstopia, and we're not going to blame Trollstopia for merely existing. That's stupid. We need these shows. But it's like, okay, cool, but like, we know we're going to get X amount of episodes and seasons that'll have Biggie in it, so this tiny story it doesn't really mean anything. And you can compare that to Cooper. Now, I want to present something. The Golden Books, they completely remove the history of the strings. They remove that scene with the Funk Trolls that was a teachable and learning moment for Poppy, but an eye-opening realization for Cooper as well, because he didn't know either. They removed that. I'm sure the novelization of Trolls has it, but, the Golden Books are picture books for children, so they're not going to have a lot of words in it. But you want to know what Cooper's story really boiled down to, because we're going to strip away a lot of the movie? Cooper feels different. Cooper realizes there's other trolls. Cooper goes on a journey to find other trolls. He finds his family. The end. In terms of Cooper, it's small. That's really small, but, for if you've been watching a lot of the Trolls content and experienced other Trolls media, you know that they've never really touched upon Cooper being different, but in character design wise, you can tell something's up. And Cooper had a learning moment of, I love my family that raised me, aka the Pop Trolls, but I gotta go out and I gotta go find my roots. I still love both cultures and both sides. And really, that's what Cooper pretty much learns at the end of the climax. Again, this is not in the picture books, but this was in the movie itself. And I feel like if you strip away the history of the strings, compared to Biggie's small story, Cooper's pretty small in the grand scheme of things, but there was a lot more meat to it compared to Biggie. Cooper, that's like a story you could tell in Trollstopia, but in terms of grand in scope, oh no, that had to be a theatrical, heavy, high budget theatrical animation budget to tell that story. Biggie's if the fandom doesn't talk about it, and it's we kind of know they could do this in Beat Goes On, or Beat Goes On, Trollstopia, whatever you want to call the show, You know, if they could do a story like that, like they could do it there, you know. For Biggie, it's like there's no rush to do this story. And I'm not knocking the storytellers by any means necessary, who thought this was important. I'm not knocking you in any way, shape, or form, but in the grand scheme of the product that we got at the end of the day, in terms of my perspective and a lot of other people's perspectives in the fandom, yeah, this could have definitely been a Beat Goes On story. And in terms of this aspect of Biggie learning to be brave and never leaving friends behind when things get down, that part of the story, yeah, that could have easily been a, you know, a TV show storyline, and that could have definitely progressed Biggie's character, because they did that in Beat Goes On with his development ever so slightly, and you could tell Biggie and the rest of the Snack Pack members grew alongside with whatever story arcs and character moments they were presented with. So this could have easily been a Beat Goes On story or Trollstopia story, but Cooper, on the other hand, small potatoes, but big potatoes as well. But his is pretty simplistic if you remove a lot of the heavy stuff. If you remove it, yeah, his is a lot more needed. Small scope and everything, but definitely needed. But Biggie, it's like, if the fandom kind of looked at it and like brushed it completely to the side and only references Mr. Dinkle jokes, that's a bit of a red flag.
Thanks for the lengthy recap, Poppy, but I was there, remember?
So, like, deadass, I feel like a lot of reviewers kind of forget that when it comes down to sequels, like, of course, subplots are gonna happen. Like, you introduce this pretty big cast or small cast in the first film. Of course, a character that's not a main character, that is a side character that's been along with the other characters in the cast, you know, of course, at some point, they're gonna get their own story at some point. So it's not even just animated movies, it's literally live action movies. So complaining about subplots happening, I mean, maybe you shouldn't have supported the first film if you didn't want subplots. I guess like that's the weirdest complaint I could probably give. But like y'all need to think about that though. But one of my pet peeves when it comes down to Trolls World Tour reviews, if I hear someone do this, man, Trolls 1 did decently. Man, it got a 8-season TV show. Man, why did they give James Gordon trolling this random Vina Pinata troll a storyline? We didn't need that. You just referenced the TV show. At least watch, I don't know, 4 episodes, 3 episodes of Beat Goes On season 1 at least, to at least understand why they have that. Because dead ass, I mean, from 2016, you have other media way before Beat Goes On that gave bios to these characters. Some characters literally got picture books that had, you know, little stories about a Snack Pack member that wasn't Poppy or Branch. You have, of course, 8 seasons of a TV show. When you have 8 seasons and each member of the Snack Pack got notice, rip Fuzzbert, sorry Fuzzbert, if those characters got episodes and, you know, whole entire characterizations and to some extent a little bit of character growth throughout those 8 seasons, I'm sorry, but yeah, people are gonna want to see Snack Pack members get side plots. Now, they complained about Cooper, and I want to present this. Y'all don't need to watch Beat Goes On or anything like that. There's a lot of people who probably don't know that Trolls TV shows exist. But I'm sorry, like as I said before, you kind of have to know that subplots are a thing and they're inevitable to happen. But at the same time, like, if you watch Trolls 1 and you saw Cooper, who doesn't look like the other trolls, like, that's gotta be a red flag. Like, and even the movie, if you don't even think about this, The movie literally points this out. So, yeah, Cooper getting a subplot like the way he did, it's 100% understandable. You want to know why Biggie gets complained about by reviewers? It's because it's James Gordon. I'm not joking. That is the only thing that they could say. It's like, James Gordon trolls annoying. I don't know why he's here, and then they move on. Like, I'm sorry that you watched James Gordon's Tonight Show. The only episode I've seen of his Tonight Show is whenever Shawn Mendes or someone I like is on there. That's the only time I watch that, man. But I'm sorry you watch that show on the daily, and I'm very sorry that you're like a movie reviewer who gets paid a lot of money for, doing your job. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sorry that you gotta watch live action movies and family movies that want James Gordon in said movie. So I'm sorry that you're James Gordon out, tired and everything. You're tired of it, but that's not a complaint. That's not a complaint. That's not a critique. Like, that's just, you just don't like James Gordon. But like, dead ass, like they ain't even talking about what the issue is with Biggie being in the movie. They just go, it's James Gordon, the end. So let me do your job for you to actually explain why, you have issues with Biggie. And I gotta be honest, the way to sum up how reviewers feel about Biggie in Trolls World Tour is summed up by the most very iconic line from 2020 animated cinema.
I never thought I'd say this, but Simon Cowell was right. You can't count on friendship.
Classic.
It also didn't really help that this movie also had another third act split up with Poppy and Branch. So really, Biggie was kind of pointless if he was just going to leave halfway through. Yes, did he bring the snack pack together? Oh yeah, but I mean, I gotta be honest, the snack pack coming back into the plot could have happened in many other ways, so you really didn't need the third act split up with Biggie. But that's kind of the problem here, is because you have Biggie learning practically a small potatoes story that both the fandom don't care about, but when reviewers aren't really critical, and this is what they're trying to say, you got the third act split up, and really honestly a kind of a moral of the day that kind of pays off. But I gotta be honest here, Poppy not listening and people calling her out throughout the film, like you had Branch do it the whole entire movie, you have her dad doing it. She was pretty rude to the country trolls. All of the funk trolls practically call Poppy out on this and actually try to present the moral to her. At the same time, when she was gone from the funk trolls and couldn't do a thing, her mind was on being a good queen, and Branch just kind of lays everything out to her. And I feel like, if anything, Branch could have literally been Biggie just calling Poppy out on not listening, and that was kind of Poppy's, one of her many morals she had to learn was listening skills. Like, Branch practically covers every basis for Biggie, so at the end of the day, Branch and other moments in the movie, including her own dad, practically call her out on listening. Biggie wasn't really needed, nor was the third act split up, so this clearly isn't working out for both the fandom and reviewers wanting to be critical, but all they can say is, y'all, James Gordon's cringe, y'all. So after this video, my next video is talking about the Trolls TV show and the film franchise and its future going forward. But since I could talk about Biggie right here, right now, one of my biggest fears, especially because of how the Trolls fandom is reacting to Biggie and how reviewers are reacting to Biggie but not exactly saying the proper words they should be saying and aren't actually using critique, but I kind of just summed it up back there of what they were trying to say but didn't say. Um, one of my fears is Biggie kind of becoming how Mater in the Cars franchise turned into for a lot of people, and how Sid from Ice Age became for a lot of people. And since reviewers are pretty much going, James Gordon is annoying, and that's the only not critique you're getting from me when talking about Biggie. And that's the thing. Biggies shouldn't be facing this, not to mention the Trolls fandom kind of looking at Biggie's story in Trolls World Tour, seeing the flaws in it, and kind of going, man, he didn't really need to be here, actually. When we can see that, Trolls 3 probably should put Biggie at the backseat. And I'm gonna be honest, this isn't gonna be a problem. Really, all you gotta do is pull a Trolls World Tour. All you gotta do is, when we're in Pop Village, Trollstopia, whatever it's called, all you gotta do is give James Gordon a huge musical number, give him funny lines, have Mr. Dinkles do a thing, and leave him back. And then when, the rest of the snack pack who didn't come along on the journey, they go, oh no, Poppy's in trouble, let's go every pony. And then they go, and then they're at the climax, and then they're at the big musical number, and then James Gordon can sing at the end. Bada bing, bada boom, you're done. Biggie gets all the content he needs in the next TV show, animated special, whatever. It may not have James Gordon in it, but, Biggie's getting moments to shine. I gotta be honest, going forward, seeing as how, we have the Trollstopia cast, and especially with Barb, who's not in Trollstopia, Homegirl needs a lot of development, and it doesn't really help that a lot of people are kind of, they're like, oh, I kind of like Val over Barb, and that's not really a good sign for Barb at all as a character right now. So, maybe it's best for a character like Barb to kind of replace Biggie. Or for that matter, like Guy Diamond, like the man literally has a kid. Like there's plot lines with that. The Fashion Twins, literally, you could give them a simplistic storyline of wanting to find new fabric in another insert location here that's going to be probably made up for the next Trolls film. There are just a lot of many potential of different characters. Heck, one of my biggest problems with Trolls World Tour was literally the fact that Legsley was slept on. Homegirl didn't get her musical number, and she only showed up at the beginning and tail end of the movie. I don't even know who this character is, and it doesn't really help that in terms of season 1, she didn't show up in Trollstopia, and what content is Homegirl going to get later on? So really, maybe just pull a Trolls World Tour. Just have, Biggie be in the sidelines, but just have James Gordon in the recording booth, get all the voice acting stuff he needs to get out of his system. Bada boom, bada bing, got his paycheck. I hate to sound a little cynical with that, but this isn't too hard, really. At the end of the day, like, it's proven that you can literally get your voice cast in and have them sideline and then come back at the end. You can do it. All you got to do is just kind of, replace one snack pack member with another snack pack member. I don't think the other people who voice the snack pack members, I don't think they'll mind. And I don't think James Gordon would mind either. Because, the rest of the snack pack literally need time in the spotlight, not just in the TV shows or extra content that's like books or something. They need to be at the forefront in these movies as well. Not to mention a whole bunch of Trollstopia, or not Trollstopia, but Trolls World Tour characters you just introduced. In fact, if you want to throw in some Trollstopia characters in the theatrical movies, I actually wouldn't mind that either. But to say the least, I think going forward into the other Troll theatrical movies, maybe cool it down on Biggie a bit. that's really all I gotta say here. So yeah, that's it. So anyways, I'm Speed Force Spectre, and I'm signing out.